Hi, this is Jean from Student Finance. I'm here today to help explain our tiered tuition schedule and to show you where you can find this information on the website to help you plan ahead. And then how is it going to appear in Populi and what's it going to look like as you register for classes? So let's start with the website. Okay, so when you go to the website, you are going to see a array of different options here in this top menu. You're going to want to come to current students and then navigate down to tuition and payment options. On this page, you can see how we have these three different tiered tuition options. Flat rate tuition is everything from 6 to 10.5 credits. That's where most of our students are going to be. And if you are taking somewhere between 6 and 10.5 credits, you're going to be charged $2,720 per term. Doesn't matter if you're taking 6 or 10.5 or something in between, this is exactly what your tuition rate will be. If, however, you are taking less than 6 credits, then you fall into the part-time tuition. And at that point, you are going to calculate your tuition for that term based on the number of credits you are taking, and it will be $475 per credit hour. I'll show you a table here in just a second that's going to help with that. If you are taking more than 10.5 credits in a term, then you are part of the accelerated tuition schedule. So you will be charged that flat rate of $2,720. But then for each additional credit above that 10.5 mark, you're going to be charged an additional $300 per credit hour. So what does this look like? Linked on the tuition schedule page, you will find this chart of tuition table and sample costs. This chart can be used easily at any point to determine what your cost for the term is going to look like. So you basically can see here in column B, it shows the number of credits taken. And here you can see that the credit per charge is different as you're going up from 0.5 to 6. And then when we hit this 6, there's no more credit per charge. You're in the flat rate charge and you stay there until you hit 10.5, at which point you have the flat rate charge. Plus, now we're reintroducing the credit per charge. So, if you're ever curious about, okay, exactly what is my tuition cost going to be for a term, you can come here and look at credits taken, go down column B, find exactly how many credits you're going to take, and then come across here to column E where it shows your total tuition cost. So here at 5.5 credits, you can see that you're at 2612. If you were to come up and say, okay, instead I'm going to take a very large course load this term, I'm going to try and take 17 credits. Now you can see that you are being charged the flat rate tuition of the 2720 plus this additional fee for additional credits. So your tuition for that term is going to be $46.70. So this, in conjunction with your course planning efforts, can help give you an idea of what your overall cost is going to be from one term to the next. Okay, so now we know what that information looks like on the website. That's also going to be available in your student handbook each term. But what does it look like in Populi? What is the practical reality of it as you are registering for classes, maybe adding and dropping classes each term? Let's go check it out. So you've logged into Populi and you can come here to your financial tab at any time. And on your financial tab, you can see this person has a very clear financial history. But for most of you, you're going to see, maybe some unpaid invoices, your recent transactions, how much you owe right now, etc. At any time, you can come here to the By Term tab and you can see exactly what your charges are for each and every term. Now, through the magic of video, we could see that our friend Testy has been added into the fall term, has now charges here for tuition and technology fee. They've made a payment. And down here on the payment plan, you can see that one of these payments was late. There's some that are overdue. Here's what's due later. You can see all of that. You can even see what is still due for this term here, right here. Okay. So that's for the fall term. Now, if we are going to move forward into next term in the winter term, once again, we see no charges here. And that is because Miss Test-A-Lot has not registered for any classes. One thing that is different here in this term is that now that Test-A-Lot is on the new tuition schedule, this tuition section has the 2026 tuition schedule added to it. And for now, that has $0 on that tuition schedule. But we'll see how once we've added courses, this number is going to change. So let's go look at what happens when Test-A-Lot applies for courses next term. So now we've got Miss Test-A-Lot enrolled in a couple of courses, and you can see that attempted credits here will be 6, okay? So now when we navigate back to our financial tab, by term, we're in winter 2026. Again, this pull down here will show us which term we're looking in. So we want to look in the next term. And now you can see it is showing us pending charges of this flat rate of $27.20. Plus, you can also see that there's going to be some course materials fees for a couple of these courses. These course material fees won't be added to the account until after the add drop date. Okay, so they'll sit there for a while, but it helps you know that they're going to come due. You can also see over here, like we talked about at this 2026 tuition schedule, now it's at $27.20. Okay, and this charge is going to stay pending in the account until after the enrollment window has finalized and is finished. That way, if you're adding and dropping courses throughout that enrollment window, it's not constantly changing what's billed to your account. But once you have finalized that, this will no longer be a pending charge. And I'll show you what that looks like here in just a moment. First, however, let's look at what does it look like if, okay, say you have enrolled for these classes, and now you're looking at this and realizing, I don't know that I can handle this load, or maybe I don't have a prerequisite for one of these classes, and I'm going to have to drop below this 6 credit hour mark. So I'm going to do that real quick, and we'll come back and see what that looks like. Now we are at 4 credit hours. So now when we come into financial, by term, we're still in this winter term. It will stay in whatever term you were in last time. Now you can see that the amount has changed. It has dropped it down to this $1,900 range. It's changed over here as well. And once again, this will stay pending. The other thing that you'll notice is different is that the tuition schedule number has changed. So it's 0 to 5.99. And that's because you are being charged per credit of $475 per credit. Now, if we go back to the dashboard, you'll notice that because those are pending charges, it's not showing here on the unpaid invoices. It's not showing on your pay now amount. So when you first register for your courses, if you're doing it during that enrollment window, it's not going to show up here, right? It's not going to show up until after that enrollment window has closed. And even at that point, it's going to take a week or two so that we can finalize everything, and then it will post to your account. Now that the enrollment window has closed, now you can see that these unpaid invoices are added to the account. It's still not changing the amount that's due right now, and because there's a payment plan on this account, you can still see what will be due in November and December, and that the remainder of this balance is not due until January 1st. So in terms of making payments on your account, staying current, etc., you're going to continue to just look at this pay now amount. But you can come in here and see that these unpaid invoices, if you click on this now at this blue, you're going to see, okay, it's showing me my 2026 tuition schedule, and it's saying that I'm being charged $27.20 plus the $300 per credit. And these are the classes that I'm taking, and therefore do the math and you'll see that it's at the $3,470 for your winter term expenses. Okay. And this is what it will continue to look like until the end of the add drop period. So even if once the add drop period has opened, you are adding and taking away classes, say you end up coming in here and saying 13 credits is too many for this term. Things have changed. I can't do this anymore, and I am going to drop some courses. Your charges here on the financial tab will not automatically change right here in your dashboard. Okay, so let's see what this looks like in real life. Okay, so now you can see we have dropped some classes. We're down to 7 credit hours. However, when we come to the financial tab, like I said, it's still showing that you're billed for this higher rate because we're in the add drop period and we're not going to continually change students' accounts throughout the add drop period. However, if you come into the by term, now you can see that you have this invoiced account number for your 13 credit hours, but you also have a pending credit on your account for the credits that you have dropped. So your tuition will not stay at this 3470 for the entire term. And this is where this number over here becomes very helpful because now you can see that what your actual total tuition is going to be for the term is at that 2720 because now you're in that full-time range of 6 to 10.5 credits. So you can expect to see $750 credited back to your account after the add drop period has closed. So again, we're going to wait a week, maybe even 2 after that add drop period has closed to make sure everything is finalized. And then at that point, we'll be adjusting everyone's accounts. And if you are expecting a credit, you will see that credit on your account. On the flip side, if during the add drop period you add more credits, so now the student is up to 16.5 from the 13 that they were originally registered for, now when they come to their by term tab, they can see that yes, they still have the original charge of $34.70 for the 13 credits, but they're going to be charged an additional $1,050 for those additional credits that they just registered for. And again, here at the 2026 tuition schedule, they can see that their total tuition rate for this term is going to be $4,520. Congratulations for sticking with me this far. That is all of it, honestly. So, to recap, we covered where on the website you can find this information. We talked about the tuition table that you can use to calculate this on your own multiple trimesters in advance. Then we looked at what does it look like when you're in the enrollment period, and so these charges are still pending on your account and will stay pending on your account until the enrollment period has closed, at which point you will see your charges for the next term post onto your account as invoiced charges. After that, when we enter the add drop period, you can see as you add and drop classes, you can go back into those pending charges and see how much are you going to be credited or how much additional are you going to be charged based on the courses that you have added and dropped throughout the add drop period. And then when the add drop period is finished, you'll see the final charge on your account and you will get a notification about that. And then we're off to the races until the next enrollment period begins. Of course, if you have questions about any of this at any time, reach out through the My Student Finances and Financial Aid FAQ form. We are here to help you so that you can plan your course load to your maximum financial benefit so that your financial aid is there to cover and we're minimizing how much additional charge you're seeing on your account. I hope you found this helpful. Bye.